presentations are as relevant as they are timeless. He is one of the leading authorities today on hope and transformation. His influence is global. His philosophy is simple. Tough times do not last. Tough people do. He was born in the hood, but he is now reaching the world. So please give a warm welcome, a warm Colleton County School District welcome to C.L. Shep Shepherd.
See if I can stay put for a while. How are you all this morning? When I say all good, y'all say all good? All good? All good. All good? All good. It's all God, so it's all good. I'm excited to be here. Grateful for the opportunity to just sit in on this entire ceremony. It's been incredible. Just grateful for what you all do, all that you contribute, not just to this area, but how much you guys mean to our country and to our world. So thank you for what you guys do, and I'm grateful and humble for the opportunity to stand in front of you this morning. Jessica Williams has been my contact, the person who reached out to me from the beginning, and been the person that helped me find my way all the way here to Walterboro, South Carolina. So it's been exciting, and I'm grateful for this small part. Now, I won't run out of story, but I'll run out of time. So I want to take the most of it. I'll start this way. There's a commercial that ran on the NFL Network several years ago, and most of what I do is with pro and college football. So it's always unique for me to get a chance to be in an audience with women in it. And I'll be with the University of South Carolina later this afternoon, but it's, but I always look forward to opportunities like this one. My one football stat that I share, so I played the game of football at every level, high school, college, and National Football League, and my one football stat that I share everywhere I go is I've never practiced or played on a football field that I didn't first pray on. Playing down in Miami or out in Honolulu, Hawaii, every field I've been blessed to play in between, never have I done that. Now, the reason I had to is because I understood that what I did represented something much bigger than myself. And so, even in standing in this moment, I know that I represent those that came before me. I know that this is a great honor for me to help you set the tone as you go into this record-breaking year, right? And there is no stopping. Ain't no stopping us, but I'm gonna rock with y'all with the there's no stopping. There's no stopping us. And I'm grateful for this chance. Okay, so there's a commercial that ran on the NFL Network several years ago, and on the bottom of the screen, the question said, "When did you know?" That's all it said on the bottom of the screen. And based on the answers of the players, you got to feel they were asking, "When did you know you were a difference maker? When did you know you were a game changer? When did you know you had exceptional talent? When did you know that you could leave your mark?" And every great leader wants to leave their mark, right? And I remember several years ago pumping gas, thinking about that commercial and asking myself, if I had a chance to be in that commercial, what would my answer be? They had, I don't know how many of you all know football, but they had a guy named Peyton Manning on the commercial. Who's heard of Peyton Manning? Okay. So they had Peyton Manning on the commercial, and Peyton said, when they started calling me Archie's boy and started calling me Peyton, that's when I knew. D'Angelo Hall, he was Atlanta Falcons at the time. He went to Virginia Tech. D'Angelo said, I was the youngest player at that camp, but I ran the fastest 40. That's when I knew. Steve Smith, I don't know if y'all remember Steve Smith, playing with the Carolina Panthers. Steve said I had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, and I threw up in between. That's when I knew. And I remember a time vividly, several years ago, pumping gas, thinking about this commercial, and asking myself, if I had a chance to be in this commercial, what would my answer be? And I probably don't look like I play football anymore. I've lost 112 pounds since I played the game, but I used to look like the devil's son-in-law, you know what I'm saying? And I remember asking myself, if I had a chance, what would be the answer? And once I answered that question, I told myself, no matter where I was in the world, and I've been fortunate enough to speak on every continent in the world except Antarctica, and I can't wait for somebody to call me down there, whoever's over there, you know, polar bears, Eskimos, I'm going to speak to them. But I've spoken on every continent in the world, and I want you guys to help me stay faithful to a commitment I made to myself several years ago. So I need you to ask me, say, Shep, when did you know? Shep, when did you know? I was 14 years old. It was before I had ever even watched the Down to Football. I was in a ghetto project apartment. There was nothing in the refrigerator but light bulbs and fingerprints. But literally what happened that day at 14 years old transformed my life, and it brought me on this platform in front of you all in this auditorium today. At 14 years old, I had a gun in my mouth, ready to blow my brain off its stem and out of the back of my head. And what took place in those next few seconds is what brought me in this room. I was raised in the state of Florida. I grew up with 15 brothers and sisters. That's what most people say when I say that. Golly! I've got 9 brothers, 6 sisters. How many brothers do I have? How many sisters? 9 brothers, 6 sisters, but I was raised by one mom. Now, for the rest of my time with you all, there's a way you can help me. Like I told you, I'm used to dealing with athletes, so I may sound a little passionate in a few moments. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Don't get worried. It's all good. But there's a way you can help me for the rest of our time, because no matter what audience I'm speaking to, whether Fortune 500 companies or to athletes or to educators, it's important to me to make sure I'm not answering questions that nobody's asking. It's important to me to make sure I'm communicating in a way you understand. So for the rest of our time here this morning, if I say anything that connects to you, there's a way you can help me in knowing that. I'll start with the ladies. Ladies, make some noise first. Y'all think you're strong now. Okay, ladies, if I say anything real, if I say anything you can relate to, if I say anything you connect to, if I say anything encouraging or inspiring, for the rest of our time here, if I say anything you say, okay, brother, I'm feeling you on that one. If I say anything real, it makes you say, man, this dude must be following me on Facebook. He's all in my business right now. If I say anything real, ladies, I want you to let me know that by saying, So for the rest of our time here this morning, for the rest of our time, anything I say, if it connects with you or resonates with you, you're going to let me know that by saying what? Okay, we're on point. Fellas, make some noise. Let me hear you. Now you guys are my heart. Fellas, if I say anything real, if I say anything that connects to you deeply, I want you to let me know that by saying, hey. So like the fun, right? So if I say anything real, fellas, if I say anything you can relate to or you need to hear, if you say, Shep, that's really real, I'm smelling you, bro. If I say anything real, fellas, you're going to let me know that by saying what?
Hey.
Okay. We're on point. So here I am raised in the state of Florida. When I tell you I'm from the hood, I mean it literally now. Most people say they're from the hood, they're really from the hospital. I was born in the ghetto project apartment bathtub. My mother gave birth to me alone in a project apartment bathtub and then drove herself to the hospital. She hid her entire pregnancy. I never had godparents. Nobody ever held me up like Simba in The Lion King. That wasn't my experience. Think about that for a second. I was literally born in the hood. Being raised with 9 brothers, 6 sisters, I had one mom, she worked 2 jobs. Overnight, she worked at Waffle House. Y'all ever heard of Waffle House? Like, hey. During the day, she worked at a gas station. So how many brothers do I have? How many sisters?
6.
How many mamas? How many jobs? How much money? Anybody ever heard a word called poverty before? Some of us know it all too well. I tell people all the time I grew up poor. We couldn't even afford the R. We were poor. That's how I grew up. I'm from the home of Disney World, but I suffered. I'm proud of the small town I came from, but I suffered in this America. When I say I grew up in utter poverty, maybe you don't know what it's like on a school day to have to go to school and wash your face and brush your teeth in the school's bathroom because there's no water at home, but I knew what to do. Maybe you don't know what it's like to have to take a bath with shampoo or wash clothes with dishwashing liquid because that's all you have, but I know all too well. Maybe you don't know what it's like on a cold morning to have to warm up in front of an oven because there's no central heat in the house, but I know all too well. Maybe you don't know what it's like if you're going to do your homework, you got to do it during the day. Because at nighttime, you'd be trying to do it under candlelight, but I know all too well. Maybe you don't know what it's like for your mother to pile up her children in an Astro van and you got to sleep in a grocery store parking lot because you have nowhere else to go, but I know all too well. Maybe you don't know what it's like for your mother to send you to Taco Bell to grab a bunch of napkins because her period is on and she can't afford to buy feminine products, but I know all too well. I admired the JROTC that came up and showed the colors earlier. My mother, anybody, me and my siblings and I who made it to high school, anybody that made it that far, she would always make us get in ROTC. All of us were in ROTC. I was in ROTC for 4 years, never had plans to go into the military. Y'all know why I was in ROTC? Because they give you those uniforms. And that's 2 less outfits my mother had to figure out how to put on us. Maybe you don't know what it's like to tear a page out of a magazine and eat a piece of paper imagining it was a meal, but I know all too well. Worst times of the year for us were summertime and winter break. Most kids, that's their favorite time of the year because school's out. I hated when school was out because many times that free lunch I had at school was the only meal I ate all day long. Maybe you don't know what it's like to go 6, 7, 8 days at a time in this America with no food, but I know all too well. 9 brothers, 6 sisters, 1 mom working 2 jobs, having absolutely no money. There was a foundation that sponsored us when I was 9 years old. How old was I? 9 years old, this foundation said, we're going to sponsor your family this Christmas. We'll be there in 2 weeks. Every one of the kids can make a Christmas wish. Anything reasonable you ask for, you can have it. Up until that time, I was convinced that Santa Claus is real. He obviously don't have direction to the hood. Because year after year, I had no Christmas. Now, my mother was religious. She drove us to church all the time. Wednesday night, Friday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I know black folks stay in church forever. Dragged us to church. And everybody was bragging on the love of God, but nobody was showing it. While I'm on this point, let me take a time out and thank everybody who's ever contributed to a perishable food drive. I don't know if you've ever met one of us before, but I'm one of the kids that you helped. This foundation said we're going to sponsor your family. We're going to sponsor your family in 2 weeks. All the kids can make a Christmas wish. I'm thinking long and hard for 2 weeks. I want to make my Christmas wish count. Up until this time, it would have been an insult to ask my mother for a Christmas gift, knowing she couldn't afford it. These people showed up 2 weeks later, just like they said. We see stuff like this on television all the time now. They showed up with their cameras, the notepads. They were going to do an awesome thing. I was excited. They showed up and they started asking my siblings what they wanted. I remember like it was yesterday. Some of my brothers asked for bikes. Some of my sisters asked for dresses. They got to me and I was still unsure. I said, "Can you skip me and come back?" She said, "Sure." Skip me, went to the rest of my siblings, got back to me. She said, "Shep, what do you want this Christmas?" I told you all, I'll be real with y'all. Here I am at 9 years old. How old was I? I thought about a lot of things. I thought about asking for a trampoline. I don't know where we would have put that. I was living in the middle of the projects. But I thought about asking for a trampoline. I thought about asking for my first pair of name brand shoes. I thought about asking for a computer. I thought about asking for a game system. We didn't have PS4s and Xboxes back then. We had Sega. So I thought to myself, I better make this decision count. So at 9 years old, how was I? I looked that lady square in the eyes and I said, "Ma'am, you will help me have the greatest Christmas I've ever had in my entire life if this year you would buy me a pillow." See, because at 9 years old, I never had my own pillow. Some of us cursed our parents out when they didn't buy us the new iPhone. Blessed, we didn't even know it. Fortunately, we keep complaining for more. And to this day, I have that pillow. To this day, it was the greatest Christmas gift I've ever received. Why? It was exactly what I needed. I slept on my arms in this America until I was 9 years old. Let me be clear on something. My mother didn't drink our money up. That's not my story. My mother didn't smoke our money up. My mother wasn't just somewhere sitting around living off the government. My mother was working all night long, all day long, but she made just enough money for us to be broke. Every month we ran out of money before we ran out of month. And we were suffering in this America. See, people who find themselves in a state of wanting to end their lives many times have drifted over into hopelessness or helplessness. Those are two dangerous states to live in. Hopelessness meaning this situation will never change. Helplessness meaning, even if it could change, I can't do anything about it. I felt like these were the cross streets of my home. I felt like I didn't matter, like I wasn't significant. I didn't have a voice. If y'all paid attention closely, it's time for a pop quiz this morning. You didn't know you were going to be in school today. Time for a pop quiz. If you're listening closely, how many things have I said about my father so far? I never saw a picture of my father growing up. I never read a letter from him. I never heard a story about him. I didn't know anybody on his side of the family. Maybe you don't know what it's like not to fill out an entire half of your medical history. I have no idea what runs in my family. See, my father went to prison for murder before I was born. While my mother was pregnant with me, my father was drunk one night playing with a gun, and he shot and killed his best friend. So, Shep, I never had a dad to throw the ball around with me. I never had a dad to sit me on his knee and watch ball games. I never had a dad to teach me the proper way to pursue a young lady. I used to think that a boy needed his father, but I found out that a man does too. Yeah. To this day, I've never seen a man shave. To this day, I've never lit a barbecue grill. I learned how to tie a tie by watching YouTube videos before I turned 30 years old. See, my father never blessed me. He never told me who I was. He never told me what I could be. I painted a picture in my mind of a man in a prison cell that longed to know me as much as I longed to know him. The only hope I held on to was one day he would swoop into my life like a superhero and change the game. That one day he would tell me who I was or what I could be. See, it's hard to defeat a man who knows who he is and what he's here to do. But if you have not answered those questions, you just blow in the wind. And he never told me who I was. Even if he would have just told me, "Don't be like me, son." I needed to know my father night after night, went disappointed, crying out, "Daddy!" I needed my father. But I had no example, had no one in or around my life to set that tone for me. I felt hopeless and helpless because there's a big statistic in my family that you don't know yet. There's no man in the history of my family that ever graduated high school. You don't know what I'm talking about. I don't just mean my 9 brothers. That means that who's ever been to a family reunion? Some of y'all went this summer. That means that my family growing up, if you would have been at a family reunion, somebody went to the front and said, we're going to play a game. First man who's graduated high school to make it to the stage is going to win $100. Ready, set, go. No man in the history of my family could have won that money. No person in my family, male or female, had ever been to a college, let alone graduate. Nobody. I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt like I didn't matter. I wasn't significant. I love that all that you've been hearing today, it sounds like you guys are some exceptional educators and people, and I thank you for your service again. I want to continue to thank you because I want you to continue to go further. I want you to continue to dig deeper. I want you to continue to set records, not just on paper, but in your life, those that you touch, the difference that you make. I know that difference because in most of my young life, no one reached out to me. That's why I question, like, when did you know resonates so deeply with me? Because most of my young life, I felt like I didn't matter. The gas station, my mother and father never dated. They were never married. She was never his woman crush Wednesday. That gas station she worked at, you know how you go to a gas station, you grab a drink, the rest of the drink's fall forward? Right behind that grocery area, that chill, kind of the refrigerated area back there, that's where I was conceived. That was the only time they were ever together. So I felt like I didn't matter, like I was a mistake. You guys have the ability to make that difference, to let someone that know that they're significant, that they have a voice, that they count, that life matters. And it sounds like you all have been doing it already, and I want to continue to let you know that it matters. So whether it's your first year, or whether it's your 25th year, I want you to continue to lean into it. And don't give up, don't give out, don't give in. Understand that what you're doing matters. See, I know that because no one reached out to me up until that point. Not a PE coach, not a teacher, not a preacher, not a police officer. No one reached out to me. Everybody knew I had 9 brothers, 6 sisters, 1 mom working 2 jobs, and absolutely no money. But no one reached out to me. The first person to reach out to me was a woman from my mother's church, my Sunday school teacher. She reached out and started sexually abusing me at 10 years old. She reached out and snatched my innocence at 10 years old. She told me I was a loser and I deserved every filthy, nasty, disgusting, perverted thing she did to me Sunday morning after Sunday. And if I could be honest with y'all, I felt like if this is what Jesus loving the little children feels like, I didn't want his love. Hurting, broken, torn from the inside out. The only hope I was holding on to was one day this man that I painted a picture in my mind of would swoop into my life and change the game. I mean, my teachers, I was a trouble kid. I went to 7 elementary schools before I was in the 3rd grade. Teachers would say cliche things like, just say no to drugs and yes to education. Everything will be hunky-dory. And I don't care what state you're from, the statewide testing the night before the test, they tell all the students the same thing. Tonight make sure you get a good night's rest, and tomorrow morning eat a good what? Breakfast. I haven't had breakfast all year, man. What makes you think I'm gonna have one tomorrow? See, I needed something tangible, something in someone I could touch, something to believe in. I needed someone or something to change the game, and the only hope I held on to was one day that father of mine would do it. I'll never forget the day. I was 12 years old. There's a man having a conversation with my mother in the screen door, a man I had never seen before in my entire life. My mother walks away from the door, walks over to me, and she says, Shep, go to the door. I walk over to the door, true story. The man leans in the doorway. I can hear his voice echo in my ears to this day. The man says, Shep, do you want to meet your daddy? Daddy, you bet your life I want to meet my daddy. What I didn't know about my father is while he was incarcerated, he was one of the major heads of a drug cartel that was pushing dope up and down the East Coast and out of the courts of Miami. What I didn't know about my father is the same crack he sold, he smoked for over 18 years. He didn't just have a habit, he had to have it. What I didn't know about my father, he was an alcoholic. What I didn't know about my father, he was a well-known womanizer, former pimp, had kids all across the state. What I didn't know about my father is when he killed his best friend, drunk playing with a gun that night, that wasn't the first body on his resume. But what I didn't know about my father didn't matter to me. I just wanted to meet my dad. Anybody here knows anything about the hood? Or if you've at least seen a gangster movie before. When somebody's been locked up for a long time and they get out, first thing we're going to have is what? Party. So they're having a huge party in the city of Edenville, home of Deacon Jones. They're going to take me to meet my daddy for the very first time. Man, we pull up and there's folks everywhere. They got loud music playing, big, I'm from the state of Florida, big rims, you know what I mean? Candy wet paint, clean on the outside. They barbecue. I know black folk on barbecue. They barbecuing. It's going down. We pull up. He points out the man in the middle of the crowd with the shades on. That's my father. And I look just like him. My heart begins to race. I'm wondering what will this moment be like. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. This guy gets me out of the car. I'm 12 years old. How old am I? 12. Takes me by the hand. He begins to cut through the crowd. walk his way up to my father. And now my mind is racing. What will this moment be like? Will he throw me on his shoulders and run around this crowd? Will he embrace me and tears roll from his eyes because he's longed to know me as much as I long to know him? Will he hold my arm like the champion of a fight and tell everybody, yo, this is my son? I didn't have to wonder anymore. This is the moment I had waited for my entire life. This guy walks me up to my father. He said, Cut, this is your son, Shep from Elaine. He had to say which one I was from because my father went to prison for murder that year. There were 3 women pregnant from him. I was born in August. My brother Dante was born in October. My brother Larry was born in December. 3 brothers born the same year from 3 different women. We call that ghetto triplets. I didn't care nothing about that. This is the movie-like moment I had waited for my entire life. True story. This guy says, Cut, this is your son, Shep from Elaine. My father looked at me that day, the moment I had waited for my entire life. My father was going to change the game. He said, Cut, this is your son, Shep from Elaine. True story. My father looked at me, shook my hand, and kept running his conversation. He didn't say a word to me. It was ironic because, I had been waiting my whole life for my father to speak into me. And the first time we meet, he didn't say a word to me. I want you to know you're a lump sum of the choices you've made up until this point in your life, and you always will be. See, a man is not defeated until he blames someone else. I'll say that again. A man or a woman is not defeated until they do what? Excuses. But in that one moment, I made 3 decisions. How many decisions? 3. Here's the first one, I hate him. Here's the second, I hate me too. Here's the third, I hate all men. No man was going to tell me what to do. Not a guidance counselor, not a principal, not a teacher. Nobody will tell me what to do. I'll go anywhere. I'll do anything. It's whatever. I took on this bad boy mentality. I told you I was a trouble kid already, but now my life began to spiral out of control. I linked up with this game, and I started making these terrible, terrible decisions. I had no respect for anyone or anything. I sat in your classrooms. I hated myself, and I wanted you to hate me too. Put me out of your class, teacher. Put me out of your school, principal. See, I already hate me. I want you to hate me too. Hurting people, guess what they do? Hurt people. See, I don't think I'm worth loving. I didn't think I was worth reaching out to. I didn't think I was worth taking a chance on. This woman told me I was a loser who sexually abused me at 10 years old, and I believed her because nobody else took the time to tell me who I was. So when she said I was a loser, I believed her, and my life was spiraling out of control. Teachers who didn't even believe in God would be praying the first day of school, please don't let that boy be in my class. I walk in the class, they say, darn it, I got to earn my money this year. My test would already be next to the teachers with my name on it already. They were sending me home 10 days at a time. There was nothing. And I had a principal, thank goodness for that principal in middle school, Miss Maxwell. And she realized, Mr. Shep, all we're doing is, enabling you by sending you home, suspending you 10 days at a time. All she did was give me more time to hang out with the older guys that I was running around with and make poor choices. So this is back in the day. I'm not this generation. I'm not a millennial. Well, I guess technically I am a millennial. But this was during the time we used to have school clothes, church clothes, and then play clothes. Y'all remember play clothes? So this principal said, I'm not going to suspend you anymore. Mr. Shep, actually, tomorrow, I want you to come back to the school. I'm like, what? No, I wanted 10 more days, vacation. And she's like, no, I want you to come to school tomorrow and wear your play clothes. I said, that'll be easy. Okay. And I showed up and I didn't know she told all, I don't share this everywhere I go, but she told, because I'm in this room, it'll be relevant. She told all the teachers to park in the bus loop. And I had to wash cars all But she got creative, instead of just sending me back to the hood to run around with folks I should have been with, she tried to get creative. So, time for the second part quiz of my presentation. If you pay attention closely, how much have I said about me playing football so far? It's going to be hard to believe because we're from the South. And I'm from the state of Florida. I know we breed athletes in the state of Florida, and I don't care who your favorite team is. You got players on that team from the state of Florida. But I had never watched a football game before in my entire life. Literally, I knew nothing about football. That wasn't something I had done. The thing I loved watching was basketball. And I love, Irvin Magic Johnson, that Lakers show. You know what I'm saying? Now, my 2 best friends, they always play organized sports. They play football, basketball, they ran track, they play baseball. Because of the weather, they could play sports year-round. I never played organized sports before, but they always did. This specific morning, we were in the 9th grade. We were in a thing called intramurals. Now, 9th grade was a big year for me because here I am at 14 in the 9th grade. I'll never forget the day my mother came home with tears in her eyes, and she asked me to be the man of the house. because my sister had just got incarcerated, and that meant all of my siblings who were older than me, including my sisters, went to prison for drugs or violent-related crimes. Every one of them. So I went from the middle child to the oldest child that wasn't locked up. My mother came home with tears in her eyes, and she said, "Shep, I need you to be the man of the house." It felt like an oxymoron, because I had never seen a man in my house. And I didn't know what being a man was. For the time being, it meant taking care of my younger siblings. So 9th grade, 14 years old, my best friends and I, we were in a basketball gym playing, y'all ever heard of Intramural? Where they let you play a pickup game of basketball in the morning before school starts. Now my two best friends, they always play organized sports. I never did. We were in the gym, 9th grade, 14 years old, true story. We were playing a pickup game of ball. I never forget the day because the score of the game was 20-20. What was the score? We're going to 24 by 2s and 3s. So we're coming down court. Now I look like this, but I can do a little bit on the court. You know what I'm saying? I got a little razzle-dazzle to my game. My best friends and I were coming down court, and I'm looking at my best friend, Kelly. And I said, "Kelly, pass the rock. Kelly, pass the rock." Now Kelly and I were down since 7 years old. We were down like 4 flat tires on the station wagon. You hear me? That was my ace, my goon, my BFF. That was my dude, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, "Kelly," 9th grade, scored against 2020. I'm saying, "Kelly, pass the rock." That's the basketball. Kelly passed me the rock. I pulled up from 3-point land and like loving basketball. You know what time it is. Scored the game, it's 23-20. We got to get on defense. True story, 9th grade, 14 years old. Somebody from the other team brought the ball all the way up court. Nobody ever guarded me, went to the basket easy. As y'all can imagine, I'm pretty passionate. I looked at the guys on my team and I said, "Why weren't y'all on your man? Fernando, was that your man?" He said, "No, that was Kelly's man." Kelly, my best friend. Y'all remember he just passed me the rock. True story, 9th grade, 14 years old. I said, "Kelly, why weren't you on your man? Kelly, why weren't you on your man? Hold the ball, y'all. Kelly." Kelly was still on the other end of the court. He was face down on the free throw line in a pool of blood. My very best friend passed me the ball. He eventually passed away right in front of our face. He wasn't old and overweight. He was young and full of life. He had some kind of heart condition. When he collapsed, his teeth went into the court, which caused a pool of blood. He lay face down. At that point in my life, I had 9 brothers, 6 sisters, 1 mom working 2 jobs, and absolutely no money. No man in my family ever graduated high school. No person had ever been to college. First time I met my father, he didn't say a word to me. All of my siblings going to prison that are older than me, including my sisters, and my best friend just died right in front of my face. The first person who reached out to me reached out and snatched my innocence, took something from me I was supposed to have on a wedding day. I couldn't wash their hands off of me and out of my mind. 7 days after Kelly died, how many days? 7 days after Kelly died, I decided I was going to kill myself. By chance, has anybody here been to Universal Studios in Orlando? A couple of y'all, okay. You can Google this later. Not far from Universal Studios, a very popular road called Hawassi. There's a high school called Dr. Phillips High School. There's another Evans there. But if you travel down Hawassi towards my hometown, there's a bunch of houses, businesses, housing developments, and then there's just a wall. It's a white brick wall. It's got blue water painted on it. And they got a bunch of ugly fish going this way. I mean, they got them really animated. Sharks, piranhas, barracudas, a bunch of ugly fish. What kind of fish? Yeah, the ugly fish. And they got 1 fish. How many fish? 1 fish going the other way. There's a quote above that picture and 4 words on the side, and they changed my life. The quote above that picture was, "Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The 4 words on the side of that picture say, "Go against the flow." What does it say? Go against the flow. One more time.
Go against the flow.
You know what I found out? You don't even have to be alive to go with the flow. Real talk, if we took a field trip to a river right now and I threw a dead fish in the river, you know what it would do? Go with the flow. But it takes something alive to go against the flow. You don't have to be alive to be like every other educator in the state of South Carolina. But it takes someone unique to decide that in this county, we're going to be different. That we're going to set the tone. That we're going to be uncommon. That we're willing to be different, to go against the flow. I got home to that ghetto project apartment. I didn't have a speaker to say a speech to me. I didn't have a choir to sing this song. Here I am with this gun in my mouth, ready to take my own life, and I couldn't get this picture out of my mind. See, in my 14-year-old mind, this picture meant if I changed my mind, it could change my life. Yeah. I know there's been a lot of climax up to this point in my story. I hate to drop you off a cliff, but no magic dust didn't fall on my head. Nobody gave me some lucky beans. Guys in white suits didn't show up at the crib and say, "Hey man, we'd like to let you know things are going to be changing around here." At 14 years old, I made a decision. I made a what? Decision. At 14 years old, I changed my mind, and it changed my life. I decided I was going to live my life for something much bigger than myself. I decided I would draw a line in the sand and I wouldn't be a victim anymore. See, I told you a man is not defeated until he blames someone else. I had to decide that, you know what, my life isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. I decided I was going to get rid of that stinking thinking. And some of you, as you set the tone for your year, you got to get rid of that stinking thinking. You got to stop thinking like Eeyore. Don't play with me. Y'all know Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Come on now. Nobody cares about Eeyore. Nobody at all. You got to get rid of that stinking thinking and understand that your life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Perspective. Say perspective. Perspective is not just what you see, it's how you view what you see. Do you see a bad break or do you see a big break? Do you see an obstacle as you start this year or do you see an opportunity? Say opportunity. Opportunities of a lifetime must be seized during the lifetime of the opportunity. And trust me, it goes back to how you see it. It's not a play on word. It is literally what transforms the game. See, you are what you are and where you are because of what's going into your mind. The great news this morning is you can change what you are and where you are by changing what? What's going into your mind. And I'm here to help you like your mama used to say, get your mind right. You hear what I'm saying? That's all I want to happen. We got to get our minds right, and I'll tell you, it comes back to perspective. There was a shoe company in the early 1970s, American company. They wanted to expand their brand, and they wanted to go international, specifically on the continent of Africa. The way the story goes, they sent one of their top executives to the continent, and after 2 weeks, how many weeks? That executive sends a note back to the corporate offices. He says, please send me a plane ticket home. I've been here for 2 weeks. Nobody here wears shoes. They bring him on back. True story. Several months later, they sent another executive. They want to continue with the plan of expansion. They sent him to Africa as well, a different executive this time. Ironically, he had been there 2 weeks as well. When he sends a note back to the corporate office, please send me all the shoes that we have available. I've been here for 2 weeks. Nobody here wears shoes. They saw the same thing, but they viewed it differently. So I challenge and encourage